So as the global campaign on the 16 days of activism continues, attention shifts to the alarming rise of digital abuse against women and girls. We're joined by Mary Wanjiru, the team leader ending violence against women and girls unit, who helps us explore the risks and the impact and the solutions. Welcome, Mary.
Thank you very much.
Well, to kick us off, we're marking the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Why is digital violence against women and girls the central focus of the 2025 campaign?
One, because I think it's such an emerging issue, and as we go ahead with a lot of energy, with a lot of resolve on ending violence, all forms of violence against women and girls, then we look at what is maybe the most needy, the most the one that is emerging and really interfering with a big category of people. No violence is better than the other. However, there are some that you see that then they are just going unabated. So when you look at issues of technology, in Kenya, just like any other country, and you know in Kenya we also do very well on technology, there's been quite a lot of move towards having technologically facilitated empowerment, facilitated kind of businesses. However, they come with the price of technologically facilitated violence. So you find it's important to check it, because it's an important area for women and girls to be able to venture in. You cannot tell anyone, don't be here, don't be there, because that is the space where women and girls are making money from. That's the area where they are really finding value, especially the younger persons that are no longer 8 to 5 kind of persons. So it's important because it is affecting in ways that a naked eye may not see. And so it may be trivialized if it's not brought to the fore. It may be, it may explode. And in many cases, we've seen technologically facilitated GBV having very bad impact. Suicidal issues, depressions, people that choose to, for example, close businesses completely and delve them into issues of economic desperation. So it's something that we don't see maybe with a naked eye, but then it has very high impact against the person, around the person that experience it.
Mm-hmm. When we talk about digital violence, what exactly does that include, and why is it rising so quickly?
Let me start from the back. Maybe it spreads so quickly because it's in the air, like it's digital. So it's something, if I just click, then you'll have, as long as you have bundles, it can go wild. So it spreads very quickly. And you know the way nature is, bad news travels very quickly. So it's something whose spread sometimes you may also not control. But also the kinds are very many, and they evolve by the day. For example, when you look at things like cyber harassment, someone just choosing to harass you online, you just seated there, you're in studio, you're reading your news, someone just sends a very disturbing text to you. And if they do, if by any bad luck you get to see it mid-news reading, it might affect the way you deliver. Over the time, it affects the way you start to rate. You get even with your employer. So it has those economic repercussions. But also that there are other people that use things like pornographic messaging, sextortion. You find, for example, someone starts to really extort from you. There are other crimes that we don't actually see that as if they are crimes, but they tend to really affect especially women. Those issues of economic, you know, that SMS we get, mtoto tuma hii pesa, mtoto break, or the key is lost, or mtoto ameenda hospitali. Things that for a woman you don't take lightly. And so you tend to be very easily susceptible to people who bully you, who cyberbully you through your children, economically draining you, telling you to send money for hospitalization. You wouldn't forgive yourself, it was true. So you find many people tend to send, and very many of us receive those messages, but the discernment really is not that easy. Then there are other things like what you can call deep fakes. That a story is so fake, but again, it's so real to the person telling, to the person receiving. And so even if someone thinks it's fake eventually, but the damage is done. It's like the way a person may throw an insult and say, I withdraw. Whether they withdraw or not, you're already affected, you already feel the dangers of such. So the variances are very many. There are also those who stalk another person, that you find someone has tapped your phone, someone has somewhat gotten access to your phone, and so they keep stalking you, and it takes a lot from you. Then of course there's what we may see very easily, like someone just calls you, threatens you, someone you just seated here and someone maybe gives information to you, a threat to you probably about something they are seeing elsewhere, like, oh, I've seen your child, I've seen your parent, things that would really affect how you rate. And like, you know, it's like more so women in leadership. A woman may be vying for a certain seat, be it political, be it managerial, some seat, some governance leadership seat, and you find that there are nudes, for example, around them, okay, sent, whether it's phishing, whether it's a Photoshop or not, but then they are there. They have parents, they have children that are looking, and so they feel, if this is the cost of taking up this leadership, I better give up. So the varieties are many. In some cases, it may even cause disharmony amongst a community. Suppose a message is sent, and so there's this one ethnic group being pitted against another. It may flare up, and such messages get very spread.
You've mentioned deep fakes, and also the artificial intelligence are mentioned as major concerns. You've also mentioned how it affects the survivors. Also, the UN regional bodies have introduced new frameworks, including the Global Digital Compact and the AU Convention of Ending Violence Against Women and Girls. How significant are these developments?
They are, because you find, like, for example, in Kenya, we have a Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. But at the time of enactments, the technologically facilitated GBV may not have been seen in that dynamic, may not have been picked as a growing gender-based kind of violation. And so some of these frameworks that come, one, they help us in defining what these crimes are, because then there's a lot of collection of what it has meant elsewhere, what it continues to mean for other people, and what translations it has been given. And so therefore, it enables us as a country to have newer information, management of then the information of, or sieving the many definitions that could be. But then more importantly, looking at globally, are we measuring up, so that then crimes can't be crimes out there, and we tend not to find them as crimes in here, because eventually they'll affect people. And we may also want to be very agile as a collective world moves ahead. We also want to be agile. We want to look at what are the definitions, correctly so, but also contextualizing with Kenya. So when you look at, for example, the Convention on Ending Violence Against Women and Girls, then it tends to really Africanize, to look at it within the context of Africa. And so it has also defined newer crimes like those, like what is technologically facilitated GBV.
Fewer countries have laws addressing online abuse. What could be slowing down the progress?
I think one is because technology was first appreciated as a progress, which is sure. I mean, it's a sure thing. It's progressive. And also in the recent past, because remember, after COVID or during COVID, technology became the water that we took at the time. Meetings for continuity of any venture, including formal offices, then online information online meetings, they became a norm. And so therefore, it was more appreciated, and I think we were counting more of the good than of the bad. And remember, COVID was really like largely with us in 2020. So we are not so deep into it, like it's just 5 years. And so we've come from a peak of us finding technology really, really useful, but also having a generation that now finds technology very empowering. People, if you open your online, many people now tend to shop 3/4 of what they are using with technology. So we found it as more as a progress, as a useful tool, other than as a vice. So therefore, maybe many countries, for them to see it as a vice, so you have to really also be intentional so that you do not curtail. Because the intention is not to make technology a problem. It should be that for us to progress very well together, we need the space to be safe. And so therefore, it may take time. Like, what do I do to make sure that it remains safe without me appearing to actually be curtailing the progress that comes with it? So that's what I would think has really occasioned a lot of handicaps, a lot of impediments around what technology means. But also, it is very volatile. Today you think you know so much. By tomorrow, things have really changed. Things have really morphed. And so therefore, to also keep up with the technology itself becomes a challenge. And by the time you're defining abuse one, and you know issues of policy, legalities, they take time. By the time you're getting to get the hang of this particular crime that you thought was a crime, by next week, things they've even actually moved off that even by the time you enact it, it will no longer be something that they're using. So the volatility is also very high.
Wow. Now, the campaign calls for ending digital violence against women a collective responsibility. What do you think governments, tech companies, and communities should be doing differently starting now?
I think we all have a role, all of us, starting, I mean, you, I, many communities, and more so governments, because then they really would regulate all of us. Because for the space to be safe, apart from the actual law, there's the implementation of it that really calls on us to have responsibility. So I think there's the whole importance of content moderation. And it's as I said before, some of these things you have to measure against a bigger goal or bigger good. Because you'll do content moderation, but at the same time risk facing a lot of setback and a lot of pushback on being anti-progressive. So there's need for that moderation. What is it that we do? Like, let me give an example. You find many of the applications may not be Kenyan. And so when the moderation is called for, then they may feel from the countries they operate in, this is allowed, all right? Or when some crime is when we want to maybe make a certain thing a crime, you find maybe in the countries they came from, that is no longer a crime. And so the content moderation needs really to be contextualized so that we don't appear to be curtailing what would be good progress, but again, content moderation by both the users, by the application makers, by the government. That needs to be done. The other thing is that there's got to be transparency and accountability. Transparency, because many of the application creators, they may feel that all I was doing was creating content, but someone has to take responsibility. If you create something that you feel or that now you understand, because you know the issues of harassment, how they are, it is not what I think I've told you. It is what you receive as I've said it to you. So I can't say, oh, nilimwambia tu kidogo. No, it's what you received. To you, it wasn't just kidogo. It was something big. It was something that you weren't going to go along with. It is something that makes you demeaned. It's something that has pushed you off. So therefore, the need for responsibility, that I realize that this content I created has gone off board. I take responsibility, I withdraw it. So I can't keep claiming and hanging on to some level of viewership that then tends to be money-making for me, while at the same time, I'm failing to be transparent and to be accountable. Or the way the agility of technology is that sometimes you may not trace it to a certain person very easily. By the time you trace it, it has really caused a lot of damage. So that needs to be done. But also in taking responsibility, they would also need to have some support systems. Suppose you've, whatever content you have, if you're a service provider, whatever content you have or application you have has caused damage, has caused harm to so many people. There's need for you to be able to offer support systems, whether it's in terms of psychosocial support. If you were the one who was spreading, some people when seeking justice, they simply just want some recognition that pole, you know. Okay. But as long as there's denial, they keep feeling hurt around it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mary Wanjiru there, who is the team leader of Ending Violence Against Women and Girls Unit. Well, thank you so much for gracing us here at KBC Channel 1 Lunchtime News. Now we move on to other news.